This is Paul Boyd with the Democrat Gazette. Can tell us your point of view? How do you feel like the team performed this weekend, and what was the difference between the first weekend and the second weekend?
Yeah. I think the first weekend, um, we were definitely pressing, I feel like. And I feel like from the first weekend to now, I feel like we've grown so much in the past 2 weeks just together as a team. And so I feel like that really carried over on the field as we continued to grind and practice. And I feel like our practice plans and watching teams was definitely different. And I feel like we grew in that area. So,
What part of was it just getting out there and getting a little more game experience? What do you think helped to get you more comfortable?
yeah, you always have those first weekend jitters, or at least I do. And I know a lot of people did. So, I feel like just getting games underneath our belt, and I feel like the first weekend is just the first weekend. I feel like we could have done a ton better, obviously, but I think we just had jitters, and playing at home definitely was a huge part. Being back at Bogle and having our fans there. So,
All right. Thanks, Hannah. I'll let someone else go. Thank you.
you're welcome.
And I would imagine you're facing a variety of different pitching styles, facing so many different teams and different levels. Have you seen a lot of spin? Have you seen a lot of change of speeds, or something maybe just a little bit different than you might see with more velocity or just heat in some of the SEC series that you played in last year?
I would say some. I think one of the girls that we faced this weekend, um, she was really spinny and she changed speeds a whole lot. She threw a changeup more than she actually threw hard. I feel like just when I think about SEC, I just think about they're just pounding, like pounding the zone and pounding hard spin. And I think that it was a good balance between hard and spinny. So.
And I'll ask this just because Coach Deifel begged me to. So, so really, how does it help with the transfers being, gelling so well on offense? That does take a lot of pressure off the middle of the lineup, because it really seemed like the middle of the order really stepped up big this weekend.
Oh yeah, it's huge. It takes a whole lot of pressure off me just having them up at the top of the lineup, and just knowing that even if the top doesn't get it done, the middle's going to get it done, or the end's going to get it done. Like, I don't think it matters where you're at in the lineup. All of us contribute in huge ways, 1 through 9. So it definitely takes a lot of pressure off having them there. So.
And this being your sophomore year, I noticed that you're playing with a lot more excitement this year, that first weekend, of course. I mean, is it because now you're a sophomore, you got that freshman year out of the way, that you can really kind of step up and be a leader on the team, or is just that it was your first weekend in Bogle?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think obviously my freshman year, I was just didn't really know how things went and was just kind of just playing, but also think like I've just gained a whole lot of confidence since last year, and I'm more confident in who I am as a person and a player. So, yeah, I think that's what it is. So.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll ask you similar to what I asked Coach Deifel a minute ago. When you guys are clicking offensively, when you're hitting a lot of home runs, when you're scoring a lot of runs, when you're doing what people kind of realize Arkansas softball does, so to speak, how does that change the vibe, with the team, dugout, on the field, clubhouse, wherever? How much does it affect kind of the overall feel for the team?
Yeah, I think it does affect the team. Last year we were recognized as the Bogle Bombers, and we won the SEC. I think it's just not saying we're not going to hit a lot of home runs. Like, we are. We're going to score a lot of runs. Like, that's our job as an offense. Like, we're very good in that area. I just, again, think we're two different teams. Like, last year's team is totally different than this year's team, and this year's team is totally different than last year's team. So, yeah, I mean, I think it affects it in good ways. And I think that, when we do get up on a team 4-0, like, I think it makes us relax a little bit better. But I also think we're two different teams, and we have the ability to outscore our opponents way more than what we did this past weekend too. So.
How different does practice and prep and all that feel this week going into week 3 than it did coming out of Mexico going into week 2? Does it feel very different for you?
Yeah, I personally, I mean, I feel like from the team, even practice yesterday, I think there's a little bit more confidence, and I wouldn't even say a little, I'd say a whole lot more confidence than what we had from Mexico. I think we kind of were really outside of ourselves in Mexico. And I think after this past weekend, we still could have done a lot better. But I think we just are feeling more like ourselves, more and more like inching, like Coach Seifeld said in the circle. Instead of inching, we need to be taking steps, bigger steps than what we're taking. So I think that we gained a whole lot of confidence from this past weekend, seeing how many runs that we can score and how good our pitching and our defense and our offense can be.
And last year with Braxton at short, it was kind of a veteran infield. And now when you turn to your left, there's people with less experience than you at shortstop and play with multiple shortstops. How do you find yourself communicating defensively as someone who's now maybe the more experienced one on that side of the diamond?
Yeah, it's definitely different. Last year, Braxton would just, she would tell me a certain play, and like I was just kind of there, and she'd tell me kind of what to do. And this year I kind of look and I'm like, okay, wow, like it's my turn to like step up and kind of be a leader on the field. So it's been definitely different, but I think it's been very nice for someone to kind of look up to me and like be able to realize that I'm kind of me, Gibby, and Audrey are the leaders in the infield, you know? So I think it's definitely different, but it's getting better and better each game. So.
You got any final questions for Hannah?
I mean, I've got one little random one here. Does Coach Steifel ever do to you what she did to us and pull out a game from 15 years ago with the exact scenario, and this is what happened and this is why?
No, I spare them my playing days as much as possible. I don't want to remind them that I'm old. So I try to omit those stories.
Yep.
All right. Any last questions? Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in. If anyone, you should all have recording permission, but if anyone needs a link to it, just go ahead and email me and I'll get that sent over to you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.